Here we have a first edition of Ulysses by James Joyce, published in Paris by Silver Beach in 1922. My name is Pom Harrington and I'm the owner of Peter Harrington. So, how do we know this is a first edition and what makes this copy special? Let me show you. Ulysses was published in Paris simply because it was banned as much as anything else in the UK, and Silver Beach was not afraid to publish anything. They published 1,000 copies of the first edition, and there's a limitation page, and this is how we know this is a first edition. I'm going to open it up on the limitation page here. Okay. And there it clearly says, this edition is limited to 1,000 copies, of which 100 copies on Dutch handmade paper, 150 large paper, and 750 regular size paper. And this actually is one of the 100 copies, which is on a thicker paper and signed by James Joyce. And if I go to the title page, which I can't actually do in this case because it is untrimmed. So there's another reason why this copy is going to be special. The book, as you probably can see, and I'm going to turn it around and show you, is particularly big and heavy and thick. All right. Now what tended to happen with this book is that upon being read, it would pretty much fall apart. And this copy hasn't been read. And one of the reasons why we know that is we're going to look at the top edges here. And you can see, I'm just going to turn it around here, that basically it's never been cut open. And we can just show these here. And there we are. So this book's never been read, apart from the very final chapter, which has actually got the rude, naughty bits, which actually got the book banned in the UK and in America. And you can see there it's been opened. The fact that it hasn't been read properly has preserved this copy beautifully. The colour of the wrappers are actually very important. It was meant to represent the Greek flag was the original colour. It's actually, the wrapper is actually a printed lithograph, and it was used actually to bind the book together. So the sheets were all folded together, and the wrapper was actually stitched through onto the book to hold it together, which is actually not a very sound and strong way of keeping this book together. And given the weight of it, you can understand why they fall apart. So why hasn't this copy fallen apart, and why is it such good condition? Well, actually, this copy was smuggled into America in the 20s. The book was banned in America, but there was a kind of a very modernist bookshop in New York called the Sunwise Turn Bookshop, which actually was patroned by Peggy Guggenheim, who was very much a modernist, and she very much believed in this book being brought to America. They actually made a special box for it, which I'm going to show you now. I'm going to put this down like so. I'm going to show you the box. Now this actually is the box that the bookshop made, and the reason why we know they made it, if I can just show you in there, there's actually a little book label, and it's actually the Sunwise Turn book. You can just get that in there. So this box was made in the 1920s. The book would have had a chemise wrapped up and slid into this box, and I'm just going to turn it around, and that was how it's left on the shelf, and there it stayed up until probably about 7-8 years ago when this first came onto the market. Arguably, this is probably one of the finest copies of the book you'll see. The book is so prone to restoration because it falls apart, but if I just turn it around over here, you'll be able to see all the way around, and the spine, there's been no colour or any restoration at all. The only thing that's happened here is that the bit of paper there had rolled back and it's been put back down, but there's no new paper added whatsoever. Copies come to market fairly rarely. They're often rebounds. They're normally restored. And I can truly say this actually is one of the finest copies of one of the greatest books of the 20th century. So for more details about this copy and other books by James Joyce, please check the Peter Harrington website, where you'll also find our contact details.